to the kitchen. I have been on an interesting baking journey. Today we are going to be making sourdough brownies, the fudgiest things you have ever put in your mouth. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So I have most of the ingredients, or I think all of the ingredients, in front of you. Whatever. If we're missing something, we'll just add it. No biggie. Besides the baking dish, but it was too large and in charge to put it here. So literally it is what it is. Sourdough brownies, that's exactly what it's called. So I'm going to give you the ingredients here right up the top so y'all can, figure it out. If I have time, I'll try to in the description below. So we have 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter. That's what it calls for. I think mine's is salted. It's actually margarine, so it's not actual butter, but whatever. Sometimes I prefer to cook with that. Just a disclaimer for all the people that says, oh, it's not real butter. I know. Gotta put those things out there for the people. But I don't know, it gives it a little oomph sometimes, because I've cooked with regular real butter, Land O'Lakes, and it's it's good. I like it, but sometimes I just like this taste. There, that's it. I'm leaving it alone. Moving on, 12 ounces or 340 grams of semi-sweet chocolate chip. Here we go, another one. I have milk chocolate. You do what your kitchen prefers. End of discussion. Half a cup of cocoa powder. That was another ingredient that I'm also substituting. I think she does like some Dutch something, the person that I'm following. I'm doing Hershey cocoa powder. It says 100% cacao, natural and sweetened. I'm reading it literally off the packaging. So moving on, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 large eggs, 1 egg yolk, 1 cup of granulated sugar, whatever your kitchen has, you use, half a cup of dark brown sugar, half a cup of sourdough starter discard. I have plenty in hand. 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm just going through whatever I have in this Tupperware right now, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm currently using Redmond real salt, the fine sea salt currently right now. So I have a mixing bowl. I have my chargeable weight kitchen scale, actually, to weigh my chocolate chips, because the packaging, because I'm going to butcher this name, Giraldi chocolate chips. I don't think it actually said like by ounces, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh my chocolate chips before we go ahead and melt them on the stove top with the butter. I also have my 2 beaters for my electronic handheld mixer, because we are going to be using that for this recipe. And I also have some Pam baking spray, because that's what I'm going to be using to grease my pan. Everybody use their own. So moving forward for this, we are going to be baking it at 350 degrees for your oven. It's going to stay in the oven at approximately 35 to 40 minutes. Definitely eyeball it at all times, because you want to make sure that you don't overcook your brownies, because if not, they're going to be hard and I guess pretty much unedible. You want them still to be gooey and ooey, so definitely always prefer to pull them out just a tad bit earlier and just let them cook with whatever heat is still in the pan. So we are going to start off with melting our butter in the saucepan at low heat. We're going to add our chocolate chips, our vanilla, and our cocoa powder. So that's going to be our first step. So we're going to go ahead and turn you guys around. We're going to show you what that looks like, and then we will proceed on moving forward to this wonderful, delicious recipe that I am bringing to you guys today. All right, guys, so the stove is on. We have it on not the lowest setting, because if not, I don't think this pan will feel anything. We have a whole stick of butter here that I have already set out. I have like 4 sticks of butter over there, because we're just on a baking journey. And this wonderful stick of butter, margarine, vegetable oil, whatever it is that you want to call it, is from Blue Bonnet here, as you can see. Has the measurements here, and it literally tells you 1/4 cup is equal to 4 tablespoons, 1/3 cup is equal to 5 3/3 tablespoon, and 1/2 cup is equivalent to 8 tablespoons. So this whole thing is literally going to go into this wonderful pan that we have here, and we're just gonna watch it melt. To that, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, because as you can see, it's already starting to melt. So we have some liquid going on. So let's add a little bit more of liquid just to help it out. Let's put our cocoa powder over here, because we're going to try to make some space for our scale so we can measure our chocolate chips. All right, so we're gonna turn on our scale. We're gonna bring it to grams. We're gonna set our bowl on there. We're gonna zero it out. Bring our chocolate chips over. Gonna lower our heat because apparently that's too intense. And we're gonna pour in 340 grams of chocolate chips. That's 327. Well, we're a little over. So let's take some out. 340, perfect. So our butter is almost melted. I'm gonna go ahead and try and aid it a little bit and mix in this vanilla in with it. In the interim, I'm gonna go ahead and measure out our cocoa powder right here and see how much we need of that. So we need 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure that as well so we can have that ready. All right, so our butter is nice and melted, as you can see. So we're gonna start incorporating our chocolate chips into this. And they are melting on their own. Got a nice little temperature increase here in the Bronx. And it's about almost 80 degrees here. So the temperature is like aiding these chocolate chips and melting before they even hit the pan. And so this is gonna happen very, very quickly. Now make sure that your stove is on low, please. The last thing that you need is to burn your chocolate chips or your chocolate in general. You don't want to do all this work and have the taste of bitter burnt chocolate in your mouth. That's never fun. All right, this part is incorporating very nicely. You gotta make sure that that oil from the butter, it incorporates into that chocolate and it breaks it down before you add the next batch. It's like trying not to get impatient, but getting impatient. Like loving the art of baking and cooking and having a lot of patience for it. But when you see it all come together, it's like, oh yes, it's finally there. And that's where we're at. There it goes. So now I'll go ahead and move on and add some more. We'll go through the motions of the ocean all over again. So let me finish incorporating all of this and I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to add the cocoa powder. All right, so all the chocolate chips is already melted and we have a nice liquidy consistency. So now we're gonna add the 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. And yes, I dumped it all in. I did the same thing last time. So we're gonna go ahead and fold this in And this is kind of gonna make it thick and creamy. When I did it the first time, if I didn't say that at the beginning of the video, I have tried this already before. It feels like once this portion is done, this makes it feel or look like pudding texture. And it kind of darkens it up a little bit. Make sure you always scrape your sides. Make sure you incorporate everything. And there you have it. Pudding. That's literally what it reminds me of. So now you're gonna literally cut the heat off. I'm gonna put it right here on this side. And I'm gonna let it sit right there. Now we're gonna move over to where we usually meet, and we're gonna start beating some eggs with some sugar. Meet you over there. All right, so we have come to the point where we are over here, and we are going to start with our wet ingredients. We are going to be putting in this glass bowl 1 cup of granulated white sugar. So 1 cup of granulated white sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Now I have the coarser kind here because so far that's what my husband seems to like in his coffee, so that's what we buy. And to this we are going to add 2 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk. And we are going to mix this until we have almost a fluffy consistency. Not fluffy to like meringue, because obviously that's not what we're looking for, but semi-fluffy, or a good consistency, kind of light brown fluffy consistency. Here we go. Powdered corn. So I'm going to raise it to about 3 so we can start getting some motion. All right, so got a nice little fluffy consistency going on there, and it went to a nice light brown color. Now we're gonna set this aside, and we're gonna mix in our, we're gonna mix our dry ingredients together. All right, so for this part, it's really simple. It's just 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then you just take a nice little fork. Make sure you mix all of this in together and set it aside. All right, so we're back with the wet ingredients, and we need to add 1/2 cup, not that you guys can see that it says 1/2 cup, but 1/2 cup of sourdough discard. So we're gonna do that. This guy is thick. Okay, there we go. 1/2 cup. All right. Let me get a spatula. All right, here we go. Make sure we get all that good stuff in there. Don't want to leave none behind. So that's half a cup of that good old discard. Beautiful. And now let's put this little guy away, and we're gonna add the chocolate mixture at the same time. Get all of it. Wipe the back of your spatulas and everything. If you can, obviously. If you can't, then it is what it is. I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to get it all, but as much as you can. And then at this point, you're going to lightly beat this with your electronic beater. I'm going to leave it at 1. If I want to, I'll raise it to 2. But we're going to start off at 1. Smells delicious. I'm going to go ahead and raise it to 2. And I'm going to creep around the edges. You don't want to overwork the batter, but at the same time, you want to make sure that your batter mixes. All right, at this point, I'm happy with the way it looks. I'm gonna take the spatula and just fold in the edges, because as you can see, some of those edges did not incorporate well. So I'm gonna go ahead and just manually incorporate them. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so now that we have everything mixed in here, now we want to grab our dry ingredients that we have right here, as you can see, and you can go ahead and dump all of it in. It's just a cup, literally, of flour and a teaspoon of sugar, of salt, and we're just gonna gently fold this in. Make sure you get all of it in. I like to grab from the edges first, incorporating some of the wet batter into the dry. And once I've gone around a couple of times, I start cutting the batter as I rotate. And as you can see, that incorporates it very nicely, very smoothly, without continuing to overwork your batter. And it thickens it up ever so slightly. And it also lightens it up just a little bit. Then at that point, I like to grab from the bottom and bring to the top, just to make sure that nothing has sunk down. Also while scraping those edges. And at this point, I have reached satisfaction. And that's how it's looking. I mean, besides the spatula, but you know, nobody really worries about the spatula too much. So what I'm gonna do now is get my 9x13 pan that I have in one of my cabinets. I am going to be prepping it with my Pam baking spray that I have right here. I'm going to spray the bottom of it. I'm going to be lining it with either parchment or wax paper, whichever one I grab first. I don't think it really matters to me, at least. And I'm going to respray it. I'm going to lay down my brownie. And I'm going to be putting it in the oven at 350 degrees. And it's going to take about 35 to 40 minutes, like I already stated at the beginning of the video. So I will show you what it looks like before it goes into the oven. But other than that, this is easy peasy, and it is chef's kiss. It is delicious. You guys should try it. So let me go ahead and do all of this behind the scenes, and I'll bring you guys back to show you what it looks like before it goes into the oven. All right, so that's what she's looking like right now. She's ready to go into the oven. I was extra and I put some extra chocolate chips on top. You definitely don't have to do that. My husband and my son compares these brownies to the brownies from either Domino's or Papa John. I don't know which company is the one that has it, but whatever, doesn't matter. They're delicious. So I will see you guys at the tail end of the video to show you the end product. 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. Pull it out when you see the middle kind of gooey and ooey, and then it'll finish cooking outside of the oven. And don't get tempted to break it too soon. Let it settle. See you at the tail end when I show you the finished product. All right, guys, so here is the ending of the sourdough discard brownie. It was in the oven for about 40 minutes to be exact, and this is what it is looking like. It's been out of the oven for about 10 minutes, so it's had time to rest. It has nice little crustings over here. I love those edges. I can chew on them. They're nice and crusty and chewy and gooey and yummy. They're delish. So this is what it looks like. This pairs very good with some cold milk and or some vanilla ice cream. So if you choose to do this recipe, it is not mine. I'll put below where I got it from. Altered it a little bit. I might alter it again the next time I do it because my son was giving me some feedback. I'll share in the descriptions below what those feedbacks were, because he's not concrete on what it is. But if he tastes this one and he is concrete, I'll let you know what that feedback is and what I might change the next time I make it. And that's it. That's about it. So we're gonna let this fully cook. We will cut and plate, and we will show you pictures at the tail end and the thumbnail so you can see how gooey it looks and how delicious it looks. Other than that, guys, as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.